Gotta put work aside for a second. Take a cough drop. You know, usually when I'm doing a cough drop, it makes me cough.
That's how you know it's working.
That's right. I guess I need to buy no cough drops.
Nice.
Why am I wearing this shirt?
Why are you wearing that shirt?
It's Horror Mayhem. And I'm Steve.
And I'm Paul.
And this is Check Your Shelf. Horror Mayhem, of course. Horror Mayhem, Bob, is the event created by the Bookish Bryants. I think we're in year 2. It certainly is the second year we've done it. It was one of our first events in which we learned in 2025 how much work it is to do an event. And it's a lot of work.
If you're razor focused on that event.
That's right. So we're not going to do just Horror Mayhem this month.
Yeah.
But we will do a few. And we will be heavily leaning toward Lovecraft. I've got my edition here, the Joyce Carol Oates. I'll also be probably reading some out of this edition, which is just it's got a little bear on it. I don't know if that means anything to anybody.
Yeah. I got a couple of those.
It's just like somebody took a bunch of Lovecraft stories and slapped them in there. And
yeah.
I found it at Half Price Books. So
I think it's like Ursus or something like that is the publisher.
Today's story is not in either one of these. And it's called Dagon or Dagon or Dagon or Dagon. I don't know how do you say it.
Dagon. It's in this version. My pretty Barnes and Noble H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu Mythos book. Dude, Michael K. Vaughan dragged this thing out a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I have to have that. So, because the thing about Lovecraft, I've said this earlier, the thing about Lovecraft is you don't just buy that book and you're done with it. If you find one you like, you still buy it. So, yeah.
Yes. I was asking about this version because I just found it in my bookshelf after we started our BookTube channel. I was asking, it's from, I don't know, the late teens, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's the late 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s.
It's from the late 1900s.
Yes.
And I was asking my wife, I was like, is this yours? She's like, it's not mine. And I was like, well, I guess it was, I was in my, I need to seem smart phase. And we were at a bookstore and I'm like, oh, Lovecraft. Yes. I'm supposed to like him. That's right. I did. And 20 years later, here I am reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. 30 years later. Sorry.
I had a similar history because I had started to try to read Lovecraft years ago, couldn't get into them, and finally I just kind of forced myself during the pandemic. And the first thing I read, because it was so short, was Dagon.
So we're doing a Shelfie today. And what is a Shelfie, you may ask yourself? Well, Shelfie is where we pick a story or a book and we keep it tight, we keep it focused, we keep it short, and Paul doesn't have to do very much editing. So I made some notes so that I could keep my head about me, which is ironic because the protagonist in this story does not keep his head about him.
Nope.
It's World War I, and it's early in the war. And we know this because the Germans have not yet started their full-scale submarine warfare. That happens later in the war. But, you know, they still have their U-boats out there. They're still doing U-boat things. And somewhere in the South Pacific, the Germans capture, this is how we know they haven't done their full-scale submarine warfare, is they capture this merchant vessel. They would have blown it up if it was later in the war. They capture it, keep it as a prize, and they've captured, of course, the vessel plus everybody on it. Our protagonist happens to be, he was a passenger. He wasn't really, he was just kind of like delivering a package or something, or he was the package. Who knows? But he's now captured under German. He's been captured by the Germans. He escapes. He somehow gets maybe one of the lifeboats or something, some food, some water, escapes. Now he's out in the ocean, just kind of thinking, hopefully somebody finds me and he's like Castaway, except instead of a porta potty, he's got an actual boat.
Yeah.
So Tom Hanks probably would have preferred an actual boat. But anyway, dude falls asleep, wakes up, and there's no water. It's just wet, dark, murky seafloor. He's like, what actually happened? Did somebody pull the plug on the ocean? He soon realizes, no, nobody pulled the plug on the ocean. He figures it's an island that somehow, it's like a volcanic island that has somehow risen from the sea floor. But it's still all wet, and there's like dead and dying little fish things.
Thanks to high hell.
Flopping around.
Mm-hmm.
He can't really walk because it's like mud. It's muck, right? So he waits around for a while until the seabed, what used to be the seabed, sort of dries out, and he can walk. And he figures, I'll just walk until I find open ocean, and then he heads west. I don't know why he picked west, but good thing he did, because he wasn't walking very long before he saw, well, good thing, or maybe not a good thing. But anyway, he sees this big something or other off in the distance. Is it a hill? Is it a mountain? What is it? I'll head for that. So he goes he goes heading toward that, and he sort of stumbles on a valley. It's got some flowing water at the bottom. It's got two banks, like it's almost like that's a river or something down there. And he sees what looks like built objects, and that kind of confirms to him, like, this is it's some sort of island. But the creatures he sees he just figures these weird look. It's not like fish he's seen before, but they're like weird looking, maybe half frog, half fish, or the other way around, like a frog fish or a fish frog flopping around, and they're dead, obviously, because they're supposed to be under the water. But he sees these buildings, and they have these weird carvings on them that sort of look like these strange creatures he saw. And then he notices this big obelisk. And I'm thinking, it's the obelisk from 2001 Space Odyssey. But it's not. But it could be. And I'm reading Dagon for the first time, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out what went on, what's happening with this guy. And I see, and then there's an obelisk, and I'm like, oh, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. All right, so he sees this big obelisk thing, and he sees carvings of frog-fish looking creatures. And then he sees one that looks like it's sort of like standing next to a whale, and it's like almost as big as the whale.
Yeah.
It's really not frog-sized, for sure.
Or it's a very tiny whale.
Or a tiny whale. It's either a giant frogfish or a super small whale. So as he's there, like wondering what the heck's going on around here, what is this place? There's this big rumbling, and this giant frogfish comes like bounding out from below.
Just
and
flopping.
Flops around, grabs onto the big obelisk like it's going to climb the thing. And it's as big as a whale. So we now know it wasn't a small whale, it was big frogfish thing. And, well, he does what anybody would do in a case like that. Turns around, he's all, heels and elbows, just gets the heck out of there, right? Gets back to somehow gets it back to his boat. He doesn't remember a thing. He's just like, somehow I got to my boat, I got to water, I got rescued, and now I'm sitting here in San Francisco just out of my mind on morphine.
Yep.
And he's like, it's either morphine or I'm going to kill myself, because I can't be sober and have these memories in my head. And
we've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, it just took me longer to describe it to you than it would take you to go read it. So
yeah, it's a short. I think
it's like a couple pages.
Yeah.
It follows a structure that when I first read it, I think you and I talked about it when I first read it, and you're about to hear some additional thoughts that are evolved. I think it was our reading report or something. I forget where we talked about Dagon, but I was a little frustrated by it when I first read it, because I was like, it doesn't follow any of the stuff my creative writing teacher told me I was supposed to do. It doesn't show, it tells. And it tells you, hey, some guy is stranded and he walks around and here's everything he sees. And here's what's going through his head. And I was like, that's not what my creative writing teacher told me, until the frog thing shows up. And then it's like, okay, now we're talking. But then it just kind of ends after that. He's like, it just started getting good. You know?
Yeah. Ending that Monty Python Holy Grail has with the writing on the cave wall. Just, one of the things I love about this story is the fact that this story pretty much follows, like, this was the first like adult story he wrote, and everything moving forward kind of has the same like story beats to it.
Yeah.
So it's a real nice little microcosm of like how his stories go. So if you're looking for something to read that
check your shelf
is Lovecraft, check your check your
sorry,
shelf,
that was a
reflex. Lovecraft. Yes. After you check your shelf, find your Lovecraft and read Dagon, because it's short. It follows pretty much his structure from then on, and it gives you it's like an appetizer for the things to come.
So my next thought category was how to read Lovecraft. So if you read this, you know it happens toward the beginning of First World War. Then if you read The Temple, which we covered in another video, you know that happens a few years after Dagon, because we know of the period of the war. It's later in the war. It's like 1917 when The Temple happens. And you've got this German U-boat captain who finds an underwater city in the Atlantic. So now you know somehow these things are not just in the South Pacific, they're also in the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
And the captain goes mad to go, he goes to hang out in the city with these whatevers they are, right? This German U-boat captain. So if you read Dagon and then you read The Temple, it all starts to connect and it all starts to make sense. Oh, these are these frog-like people, right? And Dagon, by the way, is the name of the god. Like, why name it Dagon? Dagon is the name of it's even mentioned in the Old Testament. I think Dagon. It's
a Mesopotamian fertility god that's partially like part fish, part something else. So
yeah.
He did that thing that he does where he takes like kind of how like you and I haven't got there yet, but it's kind of how like the king in yellow gets later equated to Hastur. It kind of pulls in the real world to make it seem like it's more than it really is, and I think that's one of the geniuses of Lovecraft.
Agreed. Yeah, he takes things that you may have experienced or seen or heard about in the real world, and he goes, okay, these myths might be connected to what this person who's seemingly going mad. They're not experiencing something new. They're experiencing something that is lore of ages gone by. Another story that we're going to read later, we're going to talk about later in Horror Mayhem, is The Shadow over Innsmouth. Innsmouth. I've heard people say Innsmouth, in his mouth, and I've heard people say Innsmouth like it's a British place, like
like Bournemouth.
Edinburgh. It's like Innsmouth. Anyway, Innsmouth. Which takes place after World War I, the primary action during the Great Depression. So you now know you had it's when I read like Wikipedia articles or I hear people talk about, oh yeah, this one's connected to this other one. It's not good enough for me to hear somebody go, oh yeah, Dagon's kind of connected to this one. It's kind of connected. I want to hear how and why.
Yeah,
that's what you're getting here, folks. You're getting the how and why. I'm about halfway through Innsmouth, so we'll talk about it later in the month once we've both had a chance to finish it. But then you start to get that connection. It's after World War I. So you've already had the thing happen in the South Pacific. You've had the thing happen in the Atlantic with the German U-boat commander, and Innsmouth takes place in coastal Massachusetts, which of course is the Atlantic. You get some dude named Obed Marsh, who's some kind of trading boat captain who trades with folks in the South Pacific and sort of starts bringing back some of the artifacts and some of the talisman, and I don't know, some of the people. I don't know. It's just like somehow whatever he was experiencing there in the South Pacific, they're now experiencing here in coastal Massachusetts out in the Atlantic. So he's got the frog people things going on, and it all connects. Yeah, all three of these stories connect, and we picked them somewhat at random, but somewhat with a plan.
Yeah. Oh no, I totally have a plan.
Nice, good for you. Good for you.
That's why I'm hoping we can end on Call of Cthulhu, because, like, the thing that these stories all have in common is like madness. And even though the Mountains of Madness has the actual word in it, Call of Cthulhu explains so much.
Yeah. By the way, we're going to talk about Innsmouth later, but it talks about the old ones.
Yeah.
So it all comes together. Like they're like, where did these frogfish people come from? May have been the old ones. So why does it all matter? I read, out of all the three of these, Innsmouth and Dagon, I read The Temple first. And I thought it was like just this standalone. It's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of cool. We talked about it. Y'all can see what I thought of it in the other one. I liked it, but I was kind of like, yeah, it's a neat little standalone story. Then I read Dagon because I was like, somebody said it's connected. And so I read it, but I didn't get the connection right away. So I was just kind of confused. And then I read it again after reading Temple. And I was like, oh, it's starting to make sense. And now I'm about halfway through Innsmouth, and I'm like, oh, I'm finally starting to get it. And this is the portion of the show where y'all are screaming at your YouTube screen going, how could you not get it? Well, you got to transport yourself back in time to before you read any of these stories.
That's the beauty of watching you.
It's not maybe until the second time you read it, or you read. If somebody said, what order should I read these in? It would be, well, first of all, who you asking? I don't do anything in the right order. So I'm the wrong. No. I had one of my kids ask me recently the Star Wars, because we've got Disney Plus accidentally. I forgot to cancel it after doing something. So we got access. It's like, well, what order should I watch them in? The order they were released, or the chronological order in the order that I was like, I don't know. I think you should watch Empire Strikes Back first, and then Return of the Jedi. Then let a bunch of years go by, then watch Star Wars, and then go watch the prequel. I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. But I would say any order you want, the order that you come across them in. Dagon's shortest, start with that one. But then after you read The Temple, you're going to want to go back and reread Dagon. And then after you read Innsmouth, you're going to want to go read both of those again to see, you'll find all these little connections that you might have not have even known about the first time.
So on a scale of 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, how do you rate Dagon?
Well, as a standalone, it's like a 2 because there's no there. There's no real story.
Yeah.
But as part of the whole mythos in the catalog, it's a crucial part of it because it gives you these islands sometimes come up out of the water, and if you're in the wrong place at the right time, you might find yourself in the middle of an alien city. How about you? You read it. What'd you think?
Oh, it's a 2.5 for me, 2.5. Yeah. For those same reasons, I take into consideration as a standalone and as part of a bigger picture. Yeah. And 2.5 is pretty high for me. The thing people don't understand about my my rating system is it goes like this, and then when it crosses over halfway, then it just starts to do this.
We call that a hockey stick.
Yes, it turns into a hockey stick. Yeah. So 2.5.
So for the month of May, we're doing Horror Mayhem around here. We're going to mix in some other stuff, but like I said, we're going to do Shadow over Innsmouth. We're going to do The Lurking Fear. I'm sure there are other horror stories written by people who aren't H.P. Lovecraft that we'll get to, but for now, we're definitely doing those. I think this closes the book on that one. I'm Steve.
I'm Paul.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf. Oh man, I love it when we do it backwards.
Shelfie Lovecraft.
Shelfie love, bruh. That's perfect.